So when a founder comes to you and is like, I think I'm ready for that first commercial hire, that first AE, I'm ready to move on from founder-led sales. What questions do you ask them? How do you dig in deeper there and determine if they're like actually ready or maybe just, sick of doing the founder-led sales and think that it's time? I'd love to know a little bit more about how you evaluate that because that's something we see a lot too.
Yeah, I mean, look, a founder should be continuously selling up until Series A. That's my genuine belief, and or at least orientating their role around the commercial element. The way we know that they're ready is, I mean, it depends if we invest at pre-seed or seed. If it's pre-seed and it's pre-product, we look at the market opportunity. This is pre-go-to-market. If we look at sort of seed to Series A, in a lot of cases, we're thinking about how do we grow this revenue function. There's always an outlier in a company whereby they know exactly what the customer is and the pain point that they're trying to solve. That is a kind of a 101 or it's a table stakes. But the clarity on exactly how they create a moat around their product and how that seller gets behind it, and sort of drives that forward, whether that's an AE or somebody more in growth, if we're looking at PLG, for example, which a lot of products are these days. That's the kind of the differentiator between whether a company is ready or not. There's very much a case here to sort of say, a lot of the time they go too early in bringing a salesperson in. And that person can be catastrophic in terms of having too much control in how they drive the commercial function forwards, who they sell to, how they sell it, what the product is in of itself. And those mishaps can be catastrophic because the product's ever changing. And so you need to be working it out to sort of get it right.
Yeah, and curious if you see this too, where there is that misalignment. There's kind of almost this reluctance to course set super quickly. The whole hire fast, fire fast motto. How do you advise founders there when there, might be that misalignment, and how do you surface that it's there?
Yeah, look, the founders that have done it well seek advice. I think there is a lot of assumptions made, especially with non-commercial founders, which a lot are. They just assume that something is broken in the loop. The reality is actually that person that's selling or responsible for building a go-to-market strategy might not be doing it correctly. And so you should always be stress testing those assumptions on what you're doing and what you think is right. We call it in VC a bit of a health check or an audit in some cases, whereby if a company is plateauing or if something's underperforming or growth rates aren't being met, we bring an advisor in to sort of help us audit that function. And it goes down into sort of the depth of the pipeline metrics. Is there a story to be told there? Is there a misalignment in messaging? Is the positioning wrong? How is that salesperson performing and what are they responsible for? So my theory on this is fire fast, make the hard decision on that, and but seek advice while you do that.
I agree with that. So is there a version of this hire that's a little more forgiving that maybe like reduces the blast radius if it doesn't work out? Or is it, as you've seen, always this kind of high stakes, low margin for error decision?
Yeah, I mean, teams are running leaner these days in early stage. In if you think more in sort of the growth spectrum of business, then you can be a little bit more, I guess, cutthroat in the way that you go about things. But in the early stage, people are typically more generalist. So it's more of a sort of a founding team job when thinking about go to market. Product development has taken its place now in applied product engineering, and so that it is much more of a kind of a team effort. So when hiring that early person in an early stage business, naturally they bring more of a generalist skill set, more of that entrepreneurial nature that we talk about. And so the blast radius is, naturally changing based on the fact that the business is pivoting and moving and this person needs to be able to wear multiple hats. So if that person fails in sales, they can, for example, or in, creating a bit of a growth mechanism, they can be pretty good in other areas and play a bit more of a chief of staff. So I think founding teams need to be smart in how fluid the business is changing, and the fact that everybody is generalist with the tools that are at our disposal, and so it's a constant game of kind of iteration in that early stage team.